Living your passion is a great idea, okay? It's a great thought. And people confuse that with the idea that it's going to be easy or that it's going to be fun. No, you guys need to realize that no matter what path you take, no matter what route you take, no matter what direction you take in life, there are going to be days where you do not feel like doing anything. You don't feel like going to work. You don't feel like doing your job. Those days are going to be there no matter what path you take. Well, you know what? I live my passion every day. And you know what? There's still days I don't feel like doing it. And that's the point that you guys need to understand. I have days I hate. You have days you hate. And everybody else on this earth has days they hate. And it's the people who push through those days anyway that end up making it or not. Period. And it's going to be your ability to move past, over, or through those obstacles on a daily basis that are going to define your success from your failure. They're going to find the difference that you make in your life. So don't come at me with the idea of, oh, living your passion is all roses and rainbows, unicorns. It's not.
Show me what you got. And I'm telling you, some of y'all, you lying to yourself. You say you want to be great. You say you want to get to the next level. You say you want to be dominant on that field. You say you want to go to the Final Four. You say you want to be a national champion. Listen to me. You say you want a promotion. You say you want to start your own business. But listen to me very closely. You talk too much. Shut up and let's go to work. I need you to grind. Are you hearing me? I need you to grind. Every single opportunity you get, every chance you get, show up. Listen to me, just be consistent. Success is allergic to average. Success and average don't have nothing to do with each other.
We were meant to go out and be battle tested. We were meant to go out and face adversity. We were meant to go out and grow over the course of getting our day in and day out. Realizing that those kind of beatings are what define you in life. When you open your eyes to a point where you understand the beatings that you take, the no's, the hate talk you get from your friends, from your parents, your peers, whenever you tell them, I want to be successful, I want more. Those are the things that ultimately end up defining your life because you come out strong.
Maybe your mom ain't there for you, your daddy ain't there for you. Maybe your teacher don't believe in you, and so she's not holding you to greatness because she don't know. But I know something about you. If you're watching this right now and you went to the very end, I know you're great, and I dare you to be great. I challenge you to be great. I challenge you to be great in every single thing you do.
Mr. Bennett continues, if one cannot arrange that an income of 24 hours shall exactly cover all proper items of expenditure, one does muddle one's whole life indefinitely. We shall never have any more time. We have, and we have always had, all the time there is. Isn't that well said? Let's consider some approaches to managing our time most effectively. The first approach is to ignore the subject altogether. The man says, I've been late all my life. I can't ever seem to get a handle on my time. Heck with it. I'll just struggle along the best I can. That's okay. It's your life, right? You can do with it as you please. But consider what this attitude might be costing you. Here's the second approach. Step down to something easier. Again, that's okay too. A man works for a company, then decides he wants to own one. When he gets that responsibility, comes to work before everyone else, leaves after everyone else, he now says, I would rather work for someone else's company. Hey, again, it's your life. Success is not a stereotype. There isn't just one model. Know clearly what success means to you and be comfortable with the price you pay for it. You might have heard the story of the little girl who complained to her mother that her daddy never had time to play with her. She said, why doesn't my daddy play with me? He comes home from work, goes to the study and work, comes out for dinner, goes back to work again. I want to play with my daddy. So her mother explained to her, your daddy is very busy. He loves you very much, and that is why he works so hard. At his office, he has so much work to do that he has to bring the rest of it home and finish it here. That is why he can't play with you. The little girl thought for a moment, trying to solve this problem, and came up with the answer. She said, well, why don't they just put him in a slower group? Hey, not a bad idea. Don't throw away other important values in your life just going for one. I went for some things in my life and found out later I had paid too much. If I had known how much they were going to cost, I never would have paid. So that is a consideration. The next approach approach to time management is to work longer and harder. And we all know the dangers there, right? Unless you aren't working at all, then you probably need to work longer and harder. But for some people, if 10 hours won't do it in a day, they work 12. And if 12 won't do, they move it up to 14. Some people even take on 2 jobs. And there are some very real dangers here, not least of which is health problems that result from not being able to handle the stress. So you've got to be careful with this approach. The last approach I think is the best, and that is to get more out of you. In the time you have assigned to labor, make the hours more valuable. The key is not to work harder, but to work smarter. If you're putting in about 8 or 10 hours a day, 6 days a week, that's about it. You can't work much harder. But remember, it's not the hours you put in that count. It's what you put in the hours. Get more from you to make the investment of time more valuable. And no telling how valuable you can become. We don't lack the capacity, we only lack the ideas and the will and the discipline to carry them out. In considering the subject of time management, remember that a big part of the key for changing is to take it in small steps. Most of us don't make revolutionary changes. We change a few degrees at a time. When you get some life momentum rolling, it's not that easy to make all the changes all at once. Hey, you can't whip a U-turn with the Queen Elizabeth II. When that big ship gets moving, they say it takes 7 miles just to get it stopped. So when it's really moving, you just have to nudge it a little, and finally you get it turned. That's a lot like our lives. A few nudges at a time.
How many of you know that it's hard building a thriving residual income on a monthly basis? Raise your hands. Yeah. That's why most people won't say yeah. It's much easier to complain about the economy. It's much easier to complain about our elected officials. It's much easier to talk about the recession. That's much easier. To come up with excuses why you can't do it. That's where I was. That's why I set up station for a long time. My mentor said something to me, Mike, wait, I want you to write this down. He said, anybody can complain. He said, if you do what is easy, that's complaining. If you do what is easy, your life will be hard. But if you do what is hard, your life will be easy. Come on, that's strong medicine. If you do what is easy, complain about your situation, your circumstance. If you do what is easy, stand around and be a volunteer victim like everybody else. If you do what is easy, surrender and give up on your dreams. Become depressed and bitter and angry. Anybody can do that. If you do what is easy, your life be hard. But if you do what is hard, keep coming back again and again and again. If you do what is hard, approaching strangers, talking to people in shopping malls, get up dressed every day, going out prospecting, knowing some way, somehow, with a spirit of expectation, somebody's out here looking for an opportunity. You can go outside right now and see some pigeons, but you're out hunting for eagles, and they're not common. And if you do that over and over and over again, somebody's going to show up. Somebody's going to say, I'm the one. Dr. Thurman, I love him so. What a great. He said there's something in each and every one of them that waits and listens to the voice of the genuine in yourself. It will be perhaps the only guide you will ever have. And if you cannot hear it, all of your life, your days will be spent on the ends of string that somebody else pulls. And I submit to you, that you invest time and money, go to the airport, fly across the country. I suggest to you, some of you drove here. I suggest to you, you showed up because you said, I'm going to pull my own strings. I'm going to control my own life. Nobody will ever pull my strings again. Give yourselves a round of applause. I want you to write this down. Choosing your future. It's a program that we've created that's designed to put in place for you to work on yourself. A systematic process that changes your mindset. It's possible, it's necessary, it's you, it's hard, it's worth it, it's done. It's 6 CDs.
I'm tired, y'all. I'm tired of shortcasting. I'm tired of 15-year-olds being killed in drive-by shootings. I'm tired of 3-year-olds getting shot through a door in our own house plan because we won't talk about life. Somebody has got to have the courage to talk about life, that it's not just a straight line and everything that just falls into place. And Peter, the great apostle of the New Testament, is warming himself by the fire of the Romans, denying Jesus, and not just saying I'm not his disciple. He said, I don't even know him. It's a shame, but it's true. And what of Thomas? Thomas, who said, we must go and die with him. Where is he? Where is Thomas? Not in the upper room later when Jesus rose from the dead. Where is he at the cross? Because when Jesus left for Jerusalem, Thomas said, look it up, I must go and die with him. But when that dying got real, a lot of people say a lot of stuff until it gets real, for better or for worse, in sickness and in health, to richer and for poor, till you pee on yourself. When it gets worse, don't be so carried away about what people say, because Thomas, who was ready to die for him, turns up MIA at the cross. I see John, I see Mary, I see the Roman soldiers. Where is Thomas at the cross? No wonder he doesn't show up in the upper room. Shame. No wonder he is not gathering with the rest of the disciples, because they heard him say, I will die with him. And they know he had shrank into the bushes and ran down the path and went over the hill and swam across the creek to get away from death. But what about Judas and his infamous betrayal of Jesus? I was reading a non-canonical book called The Gospel of Judas that has been discovered in the antiquities of history. And in it purports the ideology that Judas really wasn't trying to betray Jesus. He was trying to put Jesus in a situation where he would have to overthrow Rome so that the kingdom could come. And he thought that if he got Jesus in an open confrontation with Rome, that Jesus would show his power and rise to power, and he would finally take on politics and stop healing sick people. Because I'm tired of you healing sick people. That's not why I'm following you. I'm following you because I want political power. And the trick blew up in his face, and he didn't know they were going to kill him. If he knew they were going to kill him, then why did he hang himself? He hung himself because he got caught in his own web, and it cost somebody their life. And some of us have made decisions that cost other people their lives and their careers and their futures. And it's hard to live when you got the masterful plot and the plot goes wrong. Can I go deeper? I want to submit, just for your curiosity, it could be possible that had Judas not hung himself, he could have got the same. He could have come and fallen on his knees and said, forgive me. And I know you don't believe it, but I will defend it. If Jesus could be dying on the cross and say, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do, while they nailed him to the tree, then surely, surely,
you're broke. And until you admit where you are and define where you are and quit playing it cool and trying to fool everybody about where you are, you're going to keep losing. Now we're going to get real. If you're not at least at multiple seven figures in this world, you are still broke. Trust me. You need to be in a big damn hurry. Time is running out on you. There's 86,400 seconds in a day. The separator between me and you and people that win and lose is what we do with those seconds. And you're too slow. You're too cool. You're too casual. You think too much. You need to get in a hurry. The separator in this room, you're all learning the same things. The separator is going to be who takes massive action quickly. You stop playing around. I'm looking around this room. Not all of you are 19 years old. Time's running out on you. It's serious. You got a chance to change your damn life with what you're learning here. And not just your life, the lives of your children and grandchildren forever. The choices I made, the work I put in, the difference I've made, my great-great-grandchildren will know the difference. There'll be a portrait of my grandchildren, me and my wife. These are the people that changed our family tree forever. You need to stop letting the damn world push your family around. You get pushed around all the time. And just because you hang around other dudes like you who also get pushed around all the time, it's not normal and it's not okay, and you need to change it. You with me on that? So I didn't come here to entertain you today. I came here to set the stage. You need to quit playing around. The world is monkeying with your family, and you let them. You were 3, 4, 5, 6 years old. There was some point, sometime in your life, you knew you were special. You knew you were supposed to do something great with your life. You knew you were going to make a difference in the world. Somewhere along the line, life started happening. a setback here, someone teased you at school, a divorce, you got into a career someone else picked for you, whatever it is, and you started to settle. You start to make excuses. You start hanging around people just like you, and they make it okay. You know, like when you go to your kids' plays at school, and there's 40 kids up there for the Christmas recital, who do you see? Who do you see? You don't see the other 39 kids. You're looking right at your kid, aren't you? Listen, your kids are doing the same as you. They're watching you. And they're going to get to an age where they figure out who you really are. You can be anybody you want to be. Really, Dad? Then how come you're not? You can accomplish anything in the world you want, sweetheart. Well, why haven't you, Mom? They're watching you. I don't deliver a normal message. I love you. I'm here to shake you up and get you to remember what I say today. Because this information goes nowhere if you don't separate yourself by leveraging the pain of where you are or the pleasure of where you're going. And you best get in a damn hurry. Because you only got 8 years of life, by the way. Just so you know. You only live 8 years. Average person lives 78. You spend 28 of those years sleeping. You spend 10 and a half to 12 of them working. You spend another 3 or 4 shopping, chores, internet, traffic, added up, you get 8 years. And you're not a newborn, so you got less than that. You got to get in a hurry to make a difference in your life. Time is running out like that.
We are living in a generation of the dumbing down of ideas. Because we have traded effectiveness for busyness. We are busier than any other generation we have seen in the last 300 to 400 years. We are just as busy as we can be. And we think because we're busy, we're effective. But I want you to challenge your schedule for a minute and ask yourself, are you really being effective? Or is your life cluttered with all kinds of stuff that demands you and drains you and taxes you and stops you from being your highest and best self? And are you substituting busyness and all the chaos that goes along with busyness from being effective? Let me tell you, a bunch of scientists got together, they began to do some research, and they begin to determine that 80% of the things we do are busy things that we do in an area that is not effective. That the average person only spends 20% of their time doing the thing that they are really gifted at, created at, passionate about, excited to do, and the rest of it is all the dismal, dumb stuff that we all have to do in order to survive. Just crazy stuff that we're doing. Wonder what would happen if we would go from doing 80% of things that are busy but not effective and 20% of the things that are really effective if we would switch those numbers around and only give 20% of our time to the things that we have to do and 80% of our time to the thing that we were created to do. We take all kind of classes for money management. We know how to manage our money. We know how to repair our houses. We're working on our hair and our bodies and all of this kind of stuff. We do everything except the most important thing is to value our time. It takes time to be creative. You were meant to be creative. If you had time, you would be creative. This is a life class. That means that we have an opportunity to learn how to maximize our lives. Think of the things that you're doing that somebody else could be doing. And think of yourself as a precious commodity that you are going to reserve your energy for your highest and best use. The first thing we teach people that understand their significance, if you are doing anything that somebody else in your life could do, you are not reserving yourself for your highest and best use. You're missing your life, your purpose, your passion, your excitement, your enthusiasm.
So, the key is time is precious. Now let me give you Bill Bailey's description of time. Life is not just the passing of time. Life is not just the passing of time. Life is a collection of experiences, their frequency, and their intensity. Life is not just watching the clock tick away. Life is a collection of experiences, their intensity, their frequency. When my friend Mark died at age 44, someone says, that's young to die. But what if he lived 4 lifetimes in one? It might not be too young. Whatever the span of your life turns out to be, here's what you want to fill it up with: experiences and the intensity of those experiences. When should you start the day? As soon as you have it finished. Plan the day the best you can, leaving plenty of room for improvising and surprises and all the stuff that happens during the course of the day. But if you've planned a good, productive day, now you start that day, you can't believe how much more valuable your time is. Don't start the day until you have it finished. Now here's the next one. Don't start the week until you have it finished. Now to lay out a week is a pretty good challenge. Next, don't start the month until you have it finished. The places to go and the people to see, the productivity and the sales and the customers and the development and all the rest of what you want to accomplish during the course of 30 days. Don't start the month until it's finished. And then here's the big one. This is really challenging. Don't start the year until you have it finished. To the best of your ability. It can't be finished like minute by minute. Make sure that that's set and ready to go by the time January 1st rolls around. And it might get all upset. It might get torn up and you do a new one. You make so much progress the first 90 days that now you've multiplied it all by 2, by 3. Because that happened to me. I thought, wow, this is going to be a great year. By the time I'd finished the 3rd month, I'm rolling, I'm soaring. So many things are happening. I revive. My whole years. In one of my seminars, here's what I teach. All life forms strives to the max of its potential except human beings. How tall will a tree grow? as tall as it possibly can. You never heard of a tree growing half as high as it could. No, trees don't grow half. A tree drives its roots as deep as it can, reaches as high as it can, produces every leaf it can, every fruit it possibly can. To the max. Every life form strives to the max, except human beings. Now, why not human beings? Jot this down. You've been given the dignity of choice. You're not a robot. You don't have to repeat this year the same as last year. You can tear up last year's plan, develop a new plan. The basic question you are going to answer is, what do I want within the next 1 to 10 years? I want you to take about 12 to 15 minutes and make a list of at least 50 things you want within the next 1 to 10 years. These are long-range goals. To help you get started with your list, consider these questions. What do I want to do? What do I want to see? What do I want to be? What do I want to have? Where do I want to go? And what would I like to share? Now, with these thought starter questions in mind, answer the basic question. What do I want within the next 1 to 10 years? See how many things you can write down. At this point, don't take the time to describe in detail everything you want. This is the time for you to let your thoughts pour, to write fast and to abbreviate. For example, if you just write down 380, you'll know what that means. You don't have to describe the color and the interior of the car. You'll do that later in this exercise. I want you now just to abbreviate and write fast. Make the list as long as you possibly can. Try to write down at least 50 items, 50 things you want within the next 1 to 10 years. These are long-range goals. Spend about 12 to 15 minutes on this. After you've completed your list, you're ready for the next part of the exercise. Go through your list, and next to the things you think you can accomplish or acquire a year from now, write a number 1. Next to the things you think it will take 3 years to realize, write a 3. Next to the things it will take 5 years to accomplish, write a 5. And next to the things it will take 10 years to accomplish, write a 10. Go through this list now to the best of your ability and say, that looks like it will take me about a year, or 3 years, or 5 years, or 10 years. Some big goals might be out there 10 years from now. Once you complete this part of the exercise, you might come to the conclusion that you need a lot more 3-year goals and less 1-year goals, for example, or that you need more 10-year goals. You see, while you're working on one goal, you must have something else in the planning stages. If you don't, what happened to some of the early Apollo astronauts could happen to you. After they came back from the moon, some of those astronauts experienced deep psychological and emotional problems. And the reason for that, why, after you've been to the moon, now where do you go? That seemed to be the end, the finish. What later astronauts did was to make sure that they had major projects lined up after they returned from the moon trip. The way you enjoy life best is to wrap up one goal and start right on the next one. Don't linger too long at the table of success. The only way to enjoy another meal is to get hungry. Another thing to check for on your list is that you have included goals for each of these 3 important categories. First, make sure you've listed your economic goals, your goals for income, profit, and productivity. Second, make certain your list includes material items you want, tangibles, such as a home, a car, a boat, furniture, or jewelry. Don't attach the wrong importance to things, but they are important. Third, you'll want to include on your list goals for personal development. Write down all your personal development goals. Your goals to be more physically fit, to lose weight, to be more decisive, to be a more effective leader, to be a better communicator, to learn another language.
One of my good friends is Tom Brady, and I can tell you he's constantly talking about being in an emergency to get better. Rodney Harrison was telling me the story that when he was a rookie for the Patriots, he got to the gym every day, the workout facility first, every single day. And he walks in one day, there's this new rookie, skinny dude, probably going to get cut, backup kind of dude at Michigan, and he walks into the gym, and this guy's in there working out already. And he goes, "Who are you?" The guy goes, "Hi, I'm Tommy." And Rodney goes, "Yeah, I'm the guy who gets here early." Brady goes, "Oh yeah, I'm going to beat you every day." And Rodney Harrison goes, "Yeah, right." So by the way, the team meeting started at 10. This was 6 a.m. They do weights after the meeting. They were the only 2 guys who went to the gym before the meeting, but they were there at 6 a.m. The next day, Rodney gets there at 5:30. Walks in, guess who's already there? Skinny Brady. Harrison's like, "What are you doing?" He goes, "Tommy, I gotta get here every day before you." Next day, 5 a.m., Rodney gets there. Guess who's already there? Brady. The next day, Rodney Harrison, you can tell you the story. Rodney Harrison gets there the next day at 4:30. As he walks in the door, Brady's walking out, throws his towel, he goes, "Have a good workout." I'm getting chills right now. And Rodney goes, who is this guy? And Brady goes, listen to me, man. I got a lot of respect for you. Nobody on this team is going to outwork me. Nobody in this team is going to outwork me. You're talking about somebody who is, in my opinion, I'm biased, our lockers are right by each other at our club, not only the greatest quarterback of all time, not only the greatest football player of all time, arguably the greatest athlete of all time, who has almost no athletic ability. In fact, his sister was a better athlete. 8 AFC championship games in a row. Every other year he's played football, he's been in the damn Super Bowl. Are you kidding me? Really, dude? Really? Unbelievable. That's because he's outworked everybody. Because he's in a crisis to get better every day. It's not like he'd like to. You think Brady might run the mini days I talked about earlier? You think he does? Yes or no? He does. We talk about it all the time. So, here's what happened to me. Last thing I'm going to tell you. I have this hallucination. It's sort of my overall philosophy about my life, and I want to have it for you. I want to say something to you. Tonight, I promise you something. I'll pray for you. I just pray that you're happier. I pray that you win. I pray that the right deals come your way. I'm prayerful for you. I'm telling you, if you have the right business partner in your life, the greatest architect in the world, great things can happen for you. You deserve to win. You deserve to have great things happen in your life. There was a point in time in your life when you were little where you knew you were going to be somebody.
He's just going around getting lined up to be something, and in the back of his mind, he's thinking, there's something else I'm supposed to be doing. There's something else I'm supposed to be doing. There's something else I'm supposed to be doing. Discontentment leads to direction, and out of his discontentment, here comes direction down the road. And Elijah, who just got out the cave, and he's looking for Elisha, and he comes up to him, and he exposes him to something. He comes in there with his old restaurant stuff, and he exposes him to something, and his mantle passes over him, and all of a sudden, Elijah cannot work in the secular arena anymore, even if it means he has to take a cut in pay. Even if it means he has to burn the ox, he has to boil the ox and burn the plow. He has got to go with the man of God. Even if he doesn't become the heir apparent to what his parents wanted him to be, he is called to the man of God. Even if he doesn't have the prestige of controlling 12 yoke of oxen, he gives up all of that because he is exposed to destiny. That's what support ministry is made out of. People who are exposed to destiny. They're not people who working in the church because they couldn't work anywhere else. They should be people who could have been working in the secular, making even more money, doing something even more influential and more important. But as their love for Christ grows, they give their life to ministry. Even when the check isn't as big and the notoriety is not as much, they recognize that it was God that blessed them to go to school, to learn what they learn, or do what they do, or know what they know, that they are technically endowed because God wanted to use them in the kingdom. And they are not following the zeros, they are following the purpose and the call of God. And they're willing to boil their ox and burn their plow to be in the center of their destiny. They are called to walk with God.
And I'll tell you what triggered me on this is thinking about how can I add the most value here. And engagement is one of those, new flash words in the corporate culture we all hear about. Oh, full engagement, partial engagement. But it's really true. Engagement plays such a huge role. And some of the studies that are out right now are mind-boggling. Have you seen the recent studies that they've done? 142 countries asking workers around the world, how would you describe yourself? Fully engaged, partially engaged, disengaged, aggressively disengaged. And guess what they found out? Throw it up there. Around the world, in 142 countries, they found out that 13% of employees worldwide said they were actually engaged in their work. Now, for us in this room, you'd say that's absurd. There's something wrong with the survey. Well, you'd be right. In a room like this, it's full engagement, or at least a lot fuller engagement. America has the highest engagement of any country in the world. It's 29%, which sounds so much better when you're 13. So which would you rather have, a punch in the face or a kick in the stomach? But let's flip that around and say, what does that really mean? It means 71% of people are disengaged at work in the richest, most powerful, most influential country in the world. It's mind-boggling. There was only one study you'd say, it was a partial. You can see study after study coming up with similar numbers, slightly off, but pretty much the same ratio. Now, here's what's really interesting. Of those 71%, there's a group in there, about 24% of them, that are actively disengaged. You know what that means? That means they hate what they do and they hate you. Now, this is pretty important, isn't it? They hate what they do, they hate you, and they will actively work to disempower the organization. Who has ever bumped into one of these humans? Raise your hand. Say I. Okay, so when you bump into these humans, it's not usually a pleasant experience, and we all know they're out there. And by the way, how much damage can they do in a world that has, social media everywhere where good news travels fast and bad news travels faster, and people don't care what the truth is afterwards. It's a cool story. It makes it go. So this is an area that if you're going to change your business, you got to make a difference. So here's what I'm looking at. What makes the difference in people? people? What makes a difference in an organization? And I would submit to you that it isn't getting a head start. You can find individuals who you give everything to. You can love on them, give them a great education, they get a great economic background, and can spend the rest of their life going in and out of rehab. Who's seen this before, knows what I'm talking about? Say I. On the other hand, you see people that life's kicked in the face, somebody's been abused mentally, emotionally, physically, you name it, and they become the Oprahs of the world. So it's certainly not, advantage does not come because you were given something. And by the way, in business, advantage doesn't come because you have most resources. Companies with most resources don't win. The most resourceful companies win. The most resourceful companies are the ones where employees are the most engaged. And it's statistically proven. You look around and you say, who had the lead? Well, before YouTube, there was Vimeo. They had a year jump. Pretty much the same technology, just didn't engage as many people. Before Google, there was, what happened, Yahoo? If you're out there, what the hell happened to you people, right? Before Facebook, there was, what happened to MySpace? Facebook was more engaging. Engagement is really the new fact. Being able to be fully engaged. And by the way, in your intimate relationship, how important is engagement? Some guys go, very important, I want to put it off as long as I can. No, I don't mean that.
You know what makes the sun so important? It gives us gamma rays, ultraviolet rays, that provide chlorophyll for the plant to give us oxygen. So the sun is very important, it's valuable. In other words, your value is in your function. And that's how it works. If you don't feel valuable, it could be because we don't know why you are here. You know, you here all these years, we didn't know why. You taking up space. You wondering why we walking past you, because we don't know why you here. You can't ignore something if you know its value. And its value is in what? Its function. I mean, when your car's on E, I know you want to drive past that gas station, but that gas station got you. You got to pull into that fuel station. Why? Because it has something you need. The value is based on the purpose of the thing. Why were you born? What is your gift, your management gift? Purpose determines your value.
A lack of self-discipline is a lack of knowing what you want in life. And when you don't know what you want, you won't have any self-discipline power to get there.
And by the way, let me just warn you too. When you start being notarized for your gift, don't take it seriously. Because it ain't you they're interested in. You know, humility is sensibility. You stay humble because you know you don't come to me because you like me. You like what I got, that's all. When you go to a mango tree, you don't go to the leaves, you don't care about the branches, you don't even look at the bark. You go for what? The fruit. See, when you discover your gift, you even ain't got to look for followers. They find you. People bring their monies to you when you find your gift and start delivering it. A man's gift makes room for him. That means it forces space in the universe. They can't ignore you. Study yourself. This thing about business. Business is born when the solution is discovered. Your value comes from that solution. So don't seek business, seek solutions and seek problems, and then you begin to find attraction to your value. Whoever solves problems become wealthy. This is the heart of it. So businesses are all around us. The more problems in the world, the more business that exists. You know, when 9/11 took place some years ago, the airplanes hit that thing. Man, they shut down all the airlines. And boy, my first thought was, I wish I could be the company that invented the machine that you got to stand in and turn around like this. I mean, the fellows who build that machine now, billions of dollars. The little one, beep, 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 beep. Oh Lord, please let me make that one, right. 1 trillion of them for $50 each. Problems create business. 90% of success is in your head, between your ears. 10% is in your hands. You don't become successful because you work hard. It's because you work smart. Smart people hire hard-working people. Are we still there? Are we still trying to buy chair, or are we going to make it of the tree? See?
Not neglecting, first of all, the small daily discipline. Self-confidence really comes from feeling good about yourself. And one of the best ways to feel good about yourself is at the end of the day to know that you poured it on. You did your best. If you conducted a meeting, you did the best you could. If you made a phone call, it was the best phone call you could possibly make. If you wrote a letter, it wasn't a casual letter, it was your best letter. At the end of those kind of days, when you feel good about yourself, self-confidence starts to rise. You know that if you can have this kind of a good day, you can have another one the next day, and those days become the weeks become the months, and the month becomes a powerful year. Self-confidence comes from the lack of neglect. If you will not neglect to do the small daily disciplines, that's where self-confidence comes from. Part of good health is self-confidence. I know I'm going to be healthy. I take the Herbalife products. I eat the apple a day. I walk around the block. I do the jogging on the beach. At the end of the day, when you've really poured it on and you've done all the stuff, self-confidence grows. That self-confidence affects your health. It affects your future. It affects your psyche. So this is true. One of the great powers is self-confidence. Self-confidence means willingness to do whatever it takes to achieve. Some people say, well, I'll do it for a little while and see what happens. You know, I'll try a couple of things. If that doesn't work, I'm out of here. And all of us know that that kind of person doesn't have much of a future. But if you're willing to do whatever it takes, if I have to learn a couple of things, I will learn those things. If I got to learn 5 or 6 things, I'll learn all 6. If I have to take an extra class, I'll take an extra class. If I've got to read the books, I'll read the books. If I have to consult with people who know more than I know, I will do the necessary consulting. Whatever it takes, I will do. That starts to develop unbelievable self-confidence. Self-confidence also comes from the ability to rise above your circumstances, to rise above what happens, the petty little things, the discouraging things that would sink everyone else's ship except yours, that would cause someone else to quit early in the day, but you keep going. That kind of willingness to overcome all circumstances, whether it's the little challenges or the big challenges, if you're willing to do that, I promise you, this kind of power will work for you, and in you, the variable, it'll make a difference.
So life is brutal, and what you have to set against that is possibility. And you might say, well, life is so brutal that you have to utilize all the possibility that comes your way. So an opportunity manifests itself and you turn it down. You ignore it, you let it drift away. It's like, that's one thing that you had against the horror of existence that you let go of. You let go of 10 of those things, man, you're on the street.
Right.
And it's no fun there. And it doesn't get better. And so there is a possibility that if you utilized all the possibility that was offered to you, that your life would be straight and clean and engaging and acceptable and positive. And that's worth finding out if that's the case, because it might be true.
And so that's the reason to go out in the world and make some mistakes, and then you're going to. And so it's okay. It's okay to make the mistakes. It's not so okay not to learn from them, because then you make the mistakes again. That seems pointless. And so you're moving towards wherever you're going, and it's working. And so you get some positive emotion. You get some motivation from this dopaminergic system that adds zest to life. It adds interest and engagement and meaning to life. It pulls you into life. And that's worth thinking about, I would say, because if you think about it, you might wonder about whether or not you should be engaged in life. And then if all of a sudden you're doing something, and because you're doing it, you get engaged in life, then it seems like that might be the very definition of a good thing. It's evidence. The engagement is evidence that you're actually doing a good thing, a worthwhile thing in life with all its suffering and misery and brutality. It's like you've got a pathway, you've got an aim, you're moving forward, you're engaged. Excellent. And do what is meaningful and not what is expedient. It's a deep, deep instinct. And way down in your psychophysiological structure, not as far down as the serotonin system, but like next level up. And so if it's saying, hey man, you're on the right track, it's like, that's worth noticing. It's worth noticing. Now you can criticize it out of existence. You can question your aim continually. It's one of the, what would you call it, dangers of our capacity to abstract. But if you're a smart person who doubts, you also might be smart enough now and then to doubt your doubt. And just to notice and to pay attention. And not only that's what you need to do, because you need to have a meaning in your life